kids are fine. You doing good? That works awesome. All right. Good, man. Yeah, we're keeping up.
All right. It is August 28th, 2024, and I will call this meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Town of Mancos to order. And let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Cindy Simpson.
Here.
Trustee David Bacon.
Here.
Trustee Andres Esparza.
Here.
Trustee McKnighty.
Here.
Trustee Damon.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Brent McWhirter.
All right. Seeing we have a quorum, I would entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
I make a motion we approve the agenda of August 14th, 2024. Second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Andre seconded it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Same thing for the approval of minutes of August 14, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of August 14th, 2024.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you. Brave. All right, so next item on our agenda is the appointment to fill the trustee vacancy left by Richard Tokar when he had some family changes and life changes and dropped off. So, resigned. He didn't drop off. So, here it is. All right, so that's why the seat is vacant. He was elected, and and so he had a term of office. What happens is whoever we appoint will be up for election or not in April 2026. Okay, so they wouldn't serve like a full 4-year term, and actually that works out really well because it'll help us get back into that more normal changeover from trustees. This year we had quite a big turnover, and that was a lot. So what I would recommend that we do is we all put our names at the top of the questions, and I didn't skip audience participation. No, not yet. Okay. For audience business. Okay. I just want to make sure. And then what we'll do is we'll have the candidates come forward, and so just so that we can hear you, because this room is hard to hear in. And so what I would think we could do is just ask the question, have everybody respond, and then we'll ask the next question, and everybody can respond. And that way it'll be, I think, quicker, and we'll be able to track information more easily. So, having said that, is Corey here? Okay, all right. Come forward, sir. Tiffany Small? Okay. Okay, come on forward. And Lily Russo? Not here. Okay. And Joe Nelson. No Joe? All right. Your odds just got a lot better.
Yeah, you just kept going down.
All right. So I'll go ahead and kick it off with the first question. Tell us why are you wanting to join the Board of Trustees? What interests you about serving on the board? And how have you been involved with the town in the past, town government and stuff in the past, or participated in the town of Memphis government process?
I usually don't need a microphone. So I've never been a part of the government for Memphis, so we start there. Moved here in 2001. We started our family here in 2005. I've been with kids. I have two daughters. One's in Memphis now. One's in Iowa playing college. Volleyball, going to school there. For me, this has been a great place to raise a family. I came from California. I didn't want to grow up, raising a family there, having them go through what I did. So what I look at now is, as my girls are older, I'm relatively busy with work sometimes. I just got back from Washington. But I'm interested in trying to kind of keep that feeling of this town and that environment going for the next people that are coming up that were like me 24 years ago, come from somewhere, or the ones that grew up here want to stay here. I don't want people to grow up here and do like where I live and could not wait to leave. Right? That kind of kills the history of the town, and it kind of just keeps turning things over. I kind of enjoyed that community for a long time. So I'd like to do what I can. I don't know a whole lot about it. I'm captain on the fire department down in Farmington. I deal with everything. But I'm pretty objective, very calm, deal with union meetings. If you can imagine 80 firefighters basically like a room of teenagers arguing. So none of that will ever surprise me. And as far as, processing information, researching things, taking on projects, listening to other people's opinions and trying to put things together and working as a group, is something I feel like that I would do well at.
All right, thank you. And Tiffany? I'll repeat it. What interests you about serving on the Board of Trustees, and in what ways have you been involved or participated in the town of Memphis government process?
So I was born and raised here, have two kiddos here as well. My grandparents' family, everything, multiple generations grew up here. I did serve on the planning and zoning committee a few years ago, but then moved out of city limits, so I could no longer be part of it. And then since then have moved back into city limits. But I think a big part of it is just keeping the tradition of like being small town proud. Similar to what he said is, being from here, you see what it used to be, you see what it is now, and change is inevitable. It's going to happen no matter what. But some of the traditions I'd like to see stay here. And some stuff needs to change too. So some of that stuff is just kind of something that I've always wanted to be a part of, but never really knew how to be a part of, I guess. So my first step was planning and zoning. That wasn't quite where my heart was. It's a little harder than you think it is until you step into it. But just being able to be a part of what's going on in the town and have a say so, and just knowing that you're part of it.
Okay, all right, thank you. Who wants to ask the next question?
I can jump in. Let's go down this way.
Let's start with David and we'll just
Yeah.
run down the road. Okay.
Okay.
Next question, it's a multi-part question, so have fun. How do you think residents and guests define our community? Does this definition match what you believe our community should be known for? And do you believe the board's actions have been in service of creating a positive opinion of our community? And I can jump back to the first one.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, we can start. We can do it.
Yeah, how do you think residents and guests define our community?
Well, at least for me, I know.
Excellent.
That's a good choice. Thanks, Heather.
Save the day.
So I know I can just speak from my experience. I know when I came here originally, we came on a road trip just to check out the Four Corners area. And that came from advice from a friend that had traveled all over here in the 70s and 80s. It was like, hey, there's this really cool place, you know, in Durango. Telluride, like the whole area around there is amazing. Now you want to leave here, go check it out. My first impression of here was it was an awesome little, like, small town, right? Durango wasn't what Durango is today back then either, but the area was cool. So over the years, when I've met people, especially the last 10 years living right downtown, I run into people all the time that are walking by, asking me for directions, like they're trying to take a picture of the mural, so I'll go across the street and take the picture, get to talking to them, but they feel like it is that small little, like small town, you know, and if you're in the right time, then you realize it's a small little cow town. First week we were here, they drove cows right down the floor in front of our house, and I sat on the front porch and I was like, this is perfect, because it's not I-10 in LA at 3 o'clock. So, but for most everybody I know, that's their opinion, whether they come from different parts of Arizona, California, you know, all over the country. It's a very, like, small, neat community is what they picture when you think of, you know, kind of a Western, you know, mountain cow town, like not Denver, not Boulder, you know, not a big city. It does match, to me, it matches what we are known for and what Vegas has been known for a long time, right? We are a small, tight-knit community in between multiple big places, you know, relatively speaking. You know, Farmington's big, Durango's big, Cortez is big, Vegas is not. And it's very similar to what you have with like Dolores, you know, the other surrounding little communities, and they all have their own identity. And I think that's pretty cool. I don't have a lot of insight into specific decisions or things as far as the board has done. I can say, you know, as far as maintaining that or creating that opinion. But the only thing I can say, having worked for a municipality for the better part of 13 years so far, I always know when things go wrong, far more than when I don't hear anybody complaining about it or being mad, right? So I would say yes, it's maintaining that and being positive because I don't hear everybody complaining about it. You know, we did like the stop sign thing over here by the park. I heard all about that. And then I'm like, you know, as an example, that's something where if there were big things wrong, I feel like we would know. So.
Okay, thank you. Tiffany.
Sorry, you're like just that much to plug them in. Okay, let's see. So I think residents and guests define our community probably mostly the same, but a little bit different. Residents, I can say pretty overall, I would say, let's say we're like a small town crowd. We have the same community members, the same, you know, businesses and that kind of thing that we're all proud to support and know are going to support us, know they're going to support the kids in the school, that kind of thing. So that's the best way I can say it simplistically, is the small town crowd. As far as guests, I actually love hearing, I work over at the fence line in the evenings, and I love hearing people come in and are like, oh my gosh, you know, we love this small little town. There's so much history, there's so much art, there's so much this and that. And, each person's got their own little clique of what they're looking for. But it's fun because every single person that goes there is like telling us what they love about it. And that's just some random person in the food truck. So it's really good to hear that kind of stuff. Does that match what I believe our community should be known for? Absolutely. Like I said, growing up here my whole life, you get to know everybody knows each other, they support each other, that kind of thing. Same with people that move in. It doesn't take long for the newbies to become family and part of who we are. Even new businesses is a little rocky at first because I think a lot of our community's a little hesitant of change, but they will accustom to it and they do welcome them. Do I believe the board's actions have been in service of creating positive opinions of our community? Much like he said as well, you always hear the negative more than you hear the positive. There's not a lot to be said right now, so that's a good thing. Also is, I do hear a few things of, like we want to put more art up and that kind of thing, and it seems like the town board, or the town in general, has done it. The bathroom project with beautification and the murals and things like that. Seems like Memphis is really responsive to the art culture right now, so I think that's a good thing.
Right.
All right, next question.
Oh, and so now we're going to flip, and Tiffany gets to go first.
All right.
Take a little pressure off Corey for a minute.
So this one's relatively easy. What do you see as your role as being a member of the Board of Trustees?
I think a big part of that is just being able to know that I can represent, my family, like the small, like the local, being here for a long time type of people that have seen a lot of changes in Memphis over the years, as well as being somebody who is open to suggestions of something new and something that, could better us in the long term. Also, I think being a role of it is being able to be actively present, I do a lot of things with like Kiwanis and Girl Scouts and the school and that kind of thing, but I think I'm just ready to take it to the next level of being more upfront with a bigger entity type thing.
Yeah, thank you.
For me, I think my role is to be part of something that's bigger, right? It's a group thing. Decisions are made as a group. To be an objective member of that, taking in, information and questions or concerns for projects and making decisions, and making those decisions based on the best for the majority and like the best for the town and the direction things want to go, and being able to, there's going to be times, obviously, with everything where you put your stuff aside and like this is the best project or the best idea. To me, that is a big part of that. Being part of this is having that ability to be objective and kind of disconnect some of your personal stuff from, the overall good or the overall direction view of where we're trying to go with stuff.
All right.
My turn. What do you see as being the role of the Board of Trustees?
Sorry, I'm gonna read that just because.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, can you repeat it? It's not the same on this. Oh, it's on the flip.
Yeah,
Never mind,
it's
sorry.
on the flip side.
Number 4. Yeah. It's very similar to that.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Board of Trustees as a whole.
I think just being able to have input on things that are important to me and important to the community. Being able to, have our input, but also take into consideration and maybe either emphasize or express something that we could do different or in the same as somebody else. And just being able to be a part of the team that makes that decision to do whatever the project is at hand.
But I see the role of the board is to be good stewards of the resources we have, right? So it's gonna be government funded, taxpayer money, whatever. But in like making decisions or doing things or coming up with projects, I feel like it's the board's job to decide like, yes, we want to look at this or go forward with something like this, and then give that to the designated people that execute those things. It should be a bigger picture and kind of a, we call it like a 10,000 foot view over the modifier stuff. Guy in the airplane can see a lot more than we can on the ground. I feel like the board is in that airplane mode up there. So.
Daniel. Oh, let's switch again.
Okay.
Go 2 and 2.
What personal qualifications or skills do you have that will be valued to the town of Mancos should you serve as a board member?
Well, like I mentioned it before, I'm in my life and then obviously in my career, I'm very good at separating myself from whatever's going on. So with that, I'm pretty objective. I'm very hesitant to like snap like a decision or a judgment without information. Typically, if I'm going to give an opinion on something, it's pretty well researched and there's some fact base for it. I don't operate a whole lot on like my feelings because that usually gets me in trouble when I was young. So I try to be kind of controlled in that manner, and when I make decisions, to make them deliberately and with a purpose. As far as like skills, I'm very organized. I am going 1,000 different directions pretty much all the time. The ability to kind of multitask and juggle things and, conquer more than one thing at a time, I feel like would serve me well.
So personal qualifications, I would say would be just being able to step up as a leader and a role model to hopefully some younger members in our community, because I think a lot of them have an opinion and maybe sometimes don't know where to voice it or how to voice it, as well as like the leadership skills I have through work and different community organizations that I'm in, and just being able to be like a local that's been here who can give some insight on the new and the old.
Okay. All right, Corey. This position requires attendance at a minimum of 2 evening meetings each month. We do have some daytime meetings, trustee liaison meetings for other boards that we serve on and participate in, and training opportunities, and taking adequate time to review the board packet prior to the meeting. Do you feel like you have the time to devote to this?
So when I'm home. That part's easy. When I'm at work for 2 days straight. So then I've had this conversation, and it's kind of one of the reasons I've been hesitant for many years. But if I can do it virtually, then yes. Unless I'm actually on a call somewhere where I physically can't be on a computer or my phone, then I'm pretty much accessible 24 hours a day for eternity, I think, at this point. That's kind of how it feels. But that would be my only hang up, honestly, is if I'm, like in Washington even, I've been gone for 19 days. But even there, I had service, and I can have an iPad or a hotspot or a laptop or, so it's definitely doable, but, when I'm home, I'm here, it's easy. When I'm not, my job is time consuming, to say the least, and when I'm there. My shift is 48 hours straight, even just on my normal schedule. So, and it rotates, but that would be the solution for me for that, so.
Okay, thank you. Tiffany? It's question number 6 on there.
Evening meetings should be no problem at all. Every once in a while with daytime meetings, just depending on when they fall. There's like 2 trainings that I go to a year, and that's the only thing that I can really think of for my regular job. So it's once every 6 months for 2 days. But that's the only thing I can really think of that would be an absolute no-go.
Okay. All right, David. Yeah, stay up here. Don't escape.
Okay, number 7, the Town of Macon Board of Trustees is required to be nonpartisan based on state law. Are you comfortable making decisions that may be deemed unfavorable by some and perhaps even at odds with your own preferences?
Yes, I think that as my position at work, that's something that we often deal with, as well as being a leader in some of the organizations. You just have to make the decision that's as a whole, the group decision, or the decision that's best for whatever the situation is. And sometimes people are unhappy with that, and that's just something you have to deal with. But I don't see any problems with holding that.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I do this, I have 3 generations under me in my station, and I deal with this. We go from 19-year-olds to guys that are pushing 60. They're all different ranks, so, I mean, we deal with this, we stuff at work all the time, we deal with it on calls. There's things that I may not agree with, but that's the way it is. Policies, SOPs, enforcing those, like, I tell the guys, I'm like, this is consistent, we do it this way every time. I don't like it, it doesn't matter, that's how it works. I can defend that, even though I don't agree with it, but that's the way it is, so, yeah.
All right. This position requires listening and engaging in conversations with the public, staff, and your fellow board members. There are times where there will be differing views on a policy issue. How would you handle views with which you might disagree?
I think you would just have to, or say I would just have to stay level-headed and know the background of the situation, because obviously each situation is going to be a little different. But as far as the policies and stuff, just make sure that I know the policies and where we are with them. And as long as I know the background and the situation that we're dealing with, just being able to explain to the other board members or the public or whoever we're speaking to that this is what the policy is, this is what we're talking about, and standing with what is in a written policy.
Thank you.
As far as, I mean, we're all just thinking of different opinions on stuff, that's normal. It'll happen, it's inevitable. As far as handling views or with somebody that has an opposing view, I actually enjoy the debate sometimes because I learn from that. Because I know what I know, and I look at things from my eyes, my experiences, the way that I look at them. Like I said earlier, I don't really snap to judgments too often, so if somebody is really set on something against what I'm thinking, I really want to hear what they say, and then I want to go, like, weigh that against where my decision's coming from, and then see where that balances out. And there's been many times when somebody's proven me wrong, and I'm like, cool, let's go with your plan. That's not a problem.
All right.
As a board member, you may feel strongly about a position on a policy issue. Are you willing to advocate for the position positively and professionally?
Yes. Pretty easy. Like I said, it's when I decide to do that, it's usually pretty objective and substantiated, backed up by information. There's a reason that I would take that stand. So, it's not personal. It's an information argument, and that's fine. So there's no reason to get in the mud or take it personally or get upset about it.
So To answer yes, definitely could. Very similar answer is being able to advocate for what you know and what you know the policy is and understand it to be, but also be willing to understand what other people think it is.
Thank you.
Please describe your vision of what Mancos should look like in 10 years, and what do you think should define us as a community in 10 years?
I think a lot can change in 10 years, so that's a pretty vague answer for like a quick response. But I think that I would love to see it as like still as a small town, something that people come to for that feel of a small town, a small community, something that everybody rallies together. I would still like to see it as, you know, something that involves both, or I shouldn't say just both, but a lot of culture from like the, you know, where the West still lives type of culture, but also including the stuff that's more common now, such as arts and bringing in, you know, anybody from, I would say like our bikers and cowboys meet here because they kind of do. It's a mixture of a community that is very unique to its own. Define us as a community in 10 years. I hope we don't grow too much in 10 years. I know we're going to grow some, but I would still like to see it as kept as a small town, hopefully some more housing options, but hopefully not big industry.
Okay.
Very similar to what she said. I would like it to look like this, but progress is inevitable, right? If I could put it in a very short, simplistic version, even though I know it's going to grow and we're going to, you know, develop some houses, we're going to, you know, things are going to change. I would still like to have dirt roads, cattle drives in the spring and the fall, like Mancos Days, the art galleries, like the things that make us what it is. It is a unique blend, but it is very much a small town, and it has that feel to it. And I think it has a good balance, and I would like it to keep that. You know, as it grows, which it's going to do, I just don't want to lose that and get it balance on.
All right. Lily's here. If y'all are okay, we can incorporate her in, and then we'll run back through the ones that she missed, just so that we hear everybody that came. Everybody okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
Okay.
So really, we're gonna, yeah, do you want to just explain?
Yeah, so we've got 3 questions left. So we're gonna keep going like we did, and then we'll just have you come up and just, we'll run through all the questions with you, so.
You'll get your fair shot.
So let's see, who's going first now? Is it Tiffany still?
I guess it is.
And
10 years? I just did the 10 years.
Oh, okay, my turn. Hey, it's me. What do you foresee as the 2 biggest challenges facing the board in the next 2 years? And what are some possible strategies that may help to overcome those challenges?
I'll be honest, I don't know what our biggest challenges are at hand, so that's kind of a hard question for me to answer in a board perspective. As somebody looking in, I would say one of the biggest challenges would be housing, because you hear that quite often, as well as parking to go with the housing. I think that's something that I think everyone in this town hears a little bit of. And it's now and in the next 2 years for sure. Possible strategies is maybe looking at unused land that we could possibly help and see if there's something that is in the planning and zoning to use as housing, or if it is, how it could be put into that effect, and if there was any way that they could, or as a town, we can help this. I know that's also a lot of personal building and that kind of thing, but, so I guess I don't really have two at this point as the town, but I'm gonna say housing is gonna be the biggest challenge that I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay. We did say housing and parking.
Yeah, kind of go hand in hand.
All right, Corey.
I don't know if this is in 2 years, but one of them I think is some of the infrastructure stuff. And just from having volunteered with Mancus and been here on the Excelsior plant fire and destroying the water line when we hooked trucks to the hydrants. I know that some of that is aging. I know, that is usually the biggest struggle with anything if it isn't done constantly, right? We run the same thing in Farmington. So I do know that some of the water system would be tough. I don't know that it's something you can do in 2 years. You have to start the planning part as far as funding, planning out. I don't know what it looks like. Like I said, it's the one thing I have experience with when all of a sudden we're like getting water from the river because the hydrant stopped and we drained the tank. So, for a second one, I mean, I don't want to steal that, but I think just as the growth, like it depends. I don't know what the rate's going to be. I don't know like what building is or anything like that. But we'll have traffic. We have, stuff that comes along with that. If we bring in businesses, which we need for the community, but that brings in its own, collateral damage that comes along with it, which can be mitigated and managed, and that's fine. When you're doing building, accesses, anything that's on the frontage roadsides or anything that's very simple, anything off the highways, story, trying to get access from a state highway. But if we can incorporate those improvements along with any of those things that are in the pipe, then it makes it a lot easier than trying to come back later and add it. So,
Thank you.
just slow it down.
All right. A Town of Mancus employee has approached you in confidence about a concern they have regarding their immediate supervisor. This is a hypothetical situation. What would your response be to the employee? What would your next steps be? Please explain.
Well, I guess I don't know what the chain of command looks like for the town, but I'm sure there is one somewhere. That's like a little flow chart that leads to something. I would hear him out, see what the complaint is, and then it would be depending on the situation, but it may be something that just goes to like HR thing. It would depend on the context and what the problem is, right? But somewhere above their supervisor is going to be somebody that's responsible for those things, and I would start with suggesting they go that route. And if they want me to go with them to advocate for them, or just to be a party to it so that, they don't feel comfortable going by themselves, great. Again, I don't know where that falls or in the bylaws if that would even be appropriate action. That's just my natural reaction would be. But I like to handle things at the lowest level possible and then kind of work your way up from there, because if you start at the top, there's nowhere else to go, and that usually irritates everybody in between. So yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So once again, a similar answer, because I don't know the chain of command here as well. I think unless it was something that was, harmful or detrimental to themselves or somebody else, like actually harming themselves, then it would just be something that I would recommend they spoke to their supervisor or the person over top their supervisor. Obviously, if somebody can approach it as themselves and the other person in the conflict without help, that's the first route I would suggest. And then if they can't, go into the supervisor above that. But I also don't know the chain of command here, so.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So you two are off the hot seat. Oh no, we have one more. Lastly, do you have any questions for us? Sorry, I stole your fun.
113 too.
Yeah.
I don't think so, not at this time at least.
Okay. Tori,
No.
questions? All right.
No, thank you.
All right, come on up, Lily. I'm gonna run through these quickly.
Yeah, thank you. Let me just apologize. I did not know there were interviews tonight. My husband just got a message from Nick that there were, but I don't know, maybe I turned in my application late on Friday. I didn't get anything in my email, so just heard and ran over.
All right. So I think we have the questions
Not
there.
maybe to my husband.
Question?
Since they need us in an email, a couple of contacts.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, what interests you about serving on the Board of Trustees? In what ways have you been involved or participated in the town of Mancos government process? And the question is there as well.
I just love Mancos. I live right down the road, and our town just feels like home to me. I've been here over 10 years, and I love how diverse it is and how kind everybody is and how safe it is. And so I really just want to serve the town in any way I can. I've been here to some meetings in the past to have things to share and to listen. And I'm always just interested and grateful to the people who are serving and trying to just give their time to listen and support and try to make us in a good, positive, healthy direction.
Okay. David?
Okay. Number 2, it's a multi-part question. How do you think residents and guests define our community? Does this definition match what you believe our community should be known for? And do you believe the board's actions have been in service of creating a positive opinion for our town?
I hear and feel that residents and guests see Mancos as a really special, beautiful, quaint place, a safe place, a place where community is strong, a place where people of many different backgrounds come and get along. And I definitely believe that's what community is and should be known for, which is why I love Mancos so much. And yeah, I see the board's actions as being definitely in service to that community and creating a positive opinion. I would say, I know the board has always done their best to listen to all sides and come up with solutions that support this kind of community, which is so diverse and which often has different kinds of needs from different sides. And I've always been grateful that the board is always willing to at least listen and consider.
Okay.
What do you see as your role as being a member of the Board of Trustees?
I see my role as being someone who can be fair, listen, be patient, try to see all sides of issues, and try to leave my own, opinions to one side and really be here to support what's in the best interest of everybody.
Yes, I'll let you go in turn.
What do you see as being the role of board trustees?
I think the role of the board is to sit as a group of people that represents different interests and can really liaison between the residents, the businesses, the needs of the town government, all the different needs, and listen and respond with fairness and spend some of their time here showing up, I guess, just as residents who care about the town and who are trying to serve in any way they can.
Okay. Daniel?
What personal qualifications or skills do you have that will be of value to the town of Mancos should you serve as a board member?
That's a great question. Well, let's see. I've been in a lot of different roles in my life. Role of mother and someone who cares about the youth of the community. Role of health practitioner, Ayurvedic and integrative medicine, so I care about the well-being of people. I'm also an artist. I have served to create art in the community, to teach mosaic workshops. I'm also somebody who organizes a lot of events in the community. So I think in those roles, I kind of come with a lot of different perspectives and know a lot of people in town and can listen and hear a lot of different perspectives. I think because of those roles, especially in the role of event organization and health practitioner and teacher role, I have some skills in communication, in helping people to kind of navigate challenges in a calm way. I have some good education behind me, bachelor's degree in liberal arts and master's degree in science, and a lot of certifications along the way. I've been serving on the wellness committee at the school, so I have, and over the years of my life, various nonprofits, and jobs in organizations and committees that have brought me into a lot of communication and discussion skills to support that kind of healthy dialogue.
Okay, thank you. So this position requires attendance at a minimum of 2 evening meetings every month, other daytime meetings, and we have trustee liaison meetings where we sit on other panels, other boards, other groups in the area, regional type things. We have training opportunities and taking adequate time to review the board packet before meeting day. And so what we want to know is, do you have the time to devote to this position?
Yes, I do.
Okay. David?
Okay, number 7. The town of Mancos Board of Trustees is required to be nonpartisan based on state law. Are you comfortable making decisions that may be deemed unfavorable by some, and perhaps even at odds with your own preferences?
Absolutely.
All right. This position requires listening and engaging in conversations with public, staff, and your fellow board members. There are times where there will be differing views on a policy issue. How would you handle views with which you might disagree?
Yeah, that's a great question. My strategy is usually to listen and ask a lot of questions and really try to find out why they have that opinion and hopefully learn something from them about it.
Thank you.
As a board member, you may feel strongly about a position on a policy issue. Are you willing to advocate for the position positively and professionally?
Yes, absolutely. I do like to share, things that are important to me in a positive way, and always strive to be positive, professional. Best I can.
Okay. Daniel?
Please describe your vision of what Mancos should look like in 10 years and what you think should define us as a community in 10 years.
Well, I love Mancos as it is, so I'm hoping to see it continue to be a safe, beautiful town, and hope that any changes are positive, that any growth is managed wisely, that things that the town needs are addressed, that we can find ways to support different needs such as housing and infrastructure in a healthy way that doesn't make us change very much.
Okay. A great segue to our next question. What do you foresee as the two biggest challenges facing the board in the next 2 years? And what are possible strategies that may help to overcome those challenges?
Well, I know as a small town, one of our issues I imagine is the budget to come up with, the funds to support all the things that people need and want, infrastructure that's needed as things wear out and need to be replaced. And I guess I would definitely agree with housing, as I hear that left and right all the time, that housing has become very challenging cost-wise and even availability-wise for a lot of folks. So I see that definitely being a challenge that will continue in the next 2 years.
Okay. What kind of a strategy do you think would help with housing?
That is a great question. I wish I knew the answer. I don't really know that I have a good answer to that. I guess I'm really hoping that somebody really wise comes and takes some of the land that is available and develops it so that it's positive for everybody and provides, small scale affordable housing for people who live and work here.
Okay.
And I'm sure the board's role would be to, make some decisions on where those types of housings were approved. Like, for example, if there was some multi-unit housing proposed, I'm sure the board would have some say in how that looked and where that was.
Okay. David.
Okay. A town of Mancos employee has approached you in confidence about a concern they have regarding their immediate supervisor. What would your response be to the employee, and what would your next steps be?
I would listen with some compassion and empathy. It sounds like that person would be feeling frustrated, and I would just want to let them feel heard, first of all, and then I would say I'd love to help you find, the right person or the right avenues to get some resolution there, and just help, be a liaison for that connection to me.
Okay.
And then lastly, do you have any questions for us?
I don't think I have any specific questions. I'm sure I could think of lots of time, but I've seen kind of how the board works over the past decade or so. No questions really right now.
All right. Okay, well, extensive, exhaustive. Go ahead and have a seat. Now for the really awkward part, we get to talk about you and your answers. And what we'll be doing is, because these are public documents, we'll leave ours on the dais, and Jamie will collect them as we go through. So, discussion. What's a way? Oh, and Brent, I think Heather's got Brent's comments because he is flying to Michigan.
Yes, he sent me comments on every single agenda item, so I'm going to read them to you verbatim from his email.
Okay.
Just to be fair.
Good.
He actually couldn't call in because he's on a flight. Normally he would call in to attend. Trustee vacancy. My choice for the candidate would be Corey Jabor. I've had experience with him outside of my role as trustee and believe he would be a good fit with our group. I think he would dedicate the time needed to learn the material and bring a fresh perspective to the board.
Okay. All right, so comments?
Are you interested in hearing kind of question by question, or do you just kind of want big picture?
Just kind of overall big picture. Yeah. And if you feel real strongly, make a motion.
Yeah. I think big picture, I'm excited to see a number of people applying. I think I'd be interested in the future to see more, just to hear from a broader group of people that I think 3 we have represent. three different experiences. This grows from people moving in and people who have grown up here, which is massive. I'm gonna stop for a second and let some other people share, and then I'll do some more.
I mean, everybody has something to offer. I don't feel, yeah, I mean, I can kind of make arguments and counter arguments in each case. I'm not feeling incredibly strong leaning any particular direction, to be honest.
David, thoughts?
I'm kind of similar to Nick. Like, while everyone has some differences, they have a lot of similarities. Small town, see.
I think I can probably jump in if you're thinking of stuff. I think one part that I think we are constantly working on is like growth is inevitable. Things are going to change, and I think like the dirt roads need to stay dirt, or things are going to change, and just being okay with that, and knowing that, especially on the board of trustees, we're not preserving culture in time. We are growing with the surrounding county, state, and everything else. So I'm a little interested in a board member who would look forward to that change more than try to hold on to Mancus 10 years ago, because none of us can go back to that. We kind of have to move. And I think Bob Kennedy spoke to doing it in a responsible way. Specifically, I'm going to take some time here and look at it real quick. I think managing growth responsibly, but specifically retaining the safety and the beauty from Lily stands out as those are things that we can hold on to, safety and beauty, but also embrace the growth that is inevitable.
Oh, the teacher called on me. So, yeah, I mean, I appreciate all the candidates, appreciate all their answers. I think we got good candidates to choose from. What stood out to me, I think the most, was Corey's fire chief, dealing with unions, dealing with some uncomfortable things that you know happens in large organizations like that. Getting a 10,000-foot view, just some of the stuff that he said stood out to me.
Could we create a more awkward process?
I don't think so. We tried it, and this is what we came up with.
You know, I sort of like, Brent said Corey would be the easiest to work with. I don't know that I'm looking for easy. I don't know that we need somebody who just gets along with the rest of the board, I'll be honest. I think, no one on this board is from Mancus, so there's to be Tiffany has that's a strong piece going for her. Lily has a young child in town who's a mom. There's a lot of benefit to kind of, I see as a next generation coming up in Mancus and representing that. I want to be careful with going with the easy option here and sort of trying to understand how we balance the board and represent this town in every aspect that it deserves to be represented. And I am concerned too, Andreas, with this idea of small town proud concerns me a little bit that, we are changing, we're moving into the future, and I don't want to be brought into the past kicking screaming because there's just no way to do it. And so having a board that's mindful of a changing town and can be open-minded about where we can possibly be going is important.
Yeah, and I think maybe as we think about further board recruitment and people coming on, as well as like the diversity of our town was mentioned, but I think the diversity of our town is changing, the demographics are changing, and I don't know if we necessarily have that represented on the board right now. And later on, as we push, that should be a big push, is to make sure that the demographics of our town are represented in the people who sit in these chairs. But I think the diversity piece is pretty vital for moving forward.
I agree on that. And also what Nick said about not the easy option, I would much rather someone be up here that will have a different opinion and will speak up about it. On the challenges, I appreciated Corey brought up infrastructure, given my background, that's important to me. But since being here, the budget is getting more and more important to me. So, you know, I like Corey spoke to that, Lois spoke to the budget.
Yeah.
All right, so, I have a question.
Yes.
Timing wise, we need to do this now, right?
We have to do it by the end of September, or we have to have a special election. So you don't have to make a decision tonight. If you do, that person will be appointed and will take their seat right now. If you put it off, and I'm sorry, I know it's uncomfortable, but unfortunately you guys are elected to make the uncomfortable decisions. In the public, because there is no executive session procedure to appoint your replacement.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, if you do not make a decision tonight, we'll see you at the next meeting. If you don't make a decision then, you'll see you at the last meeting in September. If you don't make a decision then, we will go out to an executive session.
So you're just waiting for a motion and someone feels strongly
Yeah.
enough to
I
appoint?
know, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this
So-
couldn't be moved to a workshop discussion, correct?
Yeah. You're appointing a public figure, so your discussion has to happen.
Yeah. So, if there's anyone ready to make a motion, you can make the motion. If there's no second, then the motion will die. And then somebody else will need to make a motion, and so forth. If there is a motion and a second that are in agreement, then we'll take a roll call. And I
Can
can't
we
make
take a-
motions or votes.
Can we make the decision next meeting then? We can take a couple weeks, right?
Now, I can put this on the first agenda in September if you want.
I mean, I personally, just speaking to the board, and everyone who's listening, I would feel more comfortable having some time to process this.
Yes, so what
I feel like there's a lot of information to take in. My brain feels like it's fried after a big day, and I'm just feeling like I need to sleep on this at least one night before he feels otherwise and wants to pass the motion. But that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think I don't see harm in taking some extra time.
I wouldn't do a job interview and hire someone on the spot.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
so why would I do
Valid
it?
point.
Why would I do it here? Yeah.
With you on that, Nick.
Okay, so then I would, if that's the consensus, then I would entertain a motion to continue it until
September 11th. I need a date certain.
to September 11th.
I make
September
a
11th is your next meeting.
Okay.
motion we postpone the vacancy candidate approval process and to approve a continuation to push it to September 11th.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Will the clerk call the roll?
Trustee Andres Esparza,
Yes.
trustee McMillan.
Aye.
Trustee David Payton.
Aye.
Trustee Daniel Mann.
All right. So I would like to say thank you to all three of you for coming tonight. And this also gives you an out. You don't have to get sworn in and sit right up here and finish the night out with stuff you haven't read. So we will have it on our agenda for our next meeting, and we will hopefully make a decision then. So thank you very much for your time and your answers. It was really cool, really fun. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, now if I can find my agenda. Oh, yeah, go ahead and pass in our things. There we go. All right. All right, so next up is audience business. And so I am looking at a public hearing topic of moved off liquor license, and I should I do the other one first? Yes, okay, that's your choking. Since we do actually have something for public hearing, we usually don't. We'll do the audience business on items not on the agenda. And so if anybody wishes to do that, I will read through the information. There's no one signed up. So if anybody wants to talk, you want to talk about something that's not on the agenda. Okay. So here's what we do. Senate Bill 24-131 prohibits firearms in public buildings with the exception of law enforcement. All persons wishing to address the board shall do so from the podium provided in the boardroom. And that's because we record these and they go out on YouTube, and so you gotta be on the microphone. Public comments regarding items not on the agenda will be limited to 5 minutes per person, unless it's part of a formal presentation. Public comments regarding public hearing items, we'll be doing those later. It's 3 minutes per person. And then the length of the special presentation will be determined by the board at the time of the meeting. Special presentations of items not on the agenda shall be limited to 5 minutes. The board needs to appoint a timekeeper. It's you. All persons from the podium shall speak clearly and audibly state their name, physical address, and the town business topic they wish to speak about prior to starting in on their comments. And please give the town clerk a little bit of time to get that information down, because she's responsible for getting all the names right. No person shall be allowed to speak until recognized by the mayor, and requests the board to accept written information shall be accepted at that time, although no action may be taken at the meeting. Written information accepted at the meeting will be provided in the board packet for the next meeting if possible. All right, so that's a lot. Go ahead and I recognize you.
Okay, I'll try and just hit the list and try not to take 5 minutes here. Ready? My name is Ty Copenafer. Right now we're renting a little place south of Cortez, 7600 Road 26 and a half in Cortez. I'm here to talk about general business, I guess. I'm an engineer. I grew up here. My family still lives here. Just moved back, went to the big city, got an education, spent a few years working, decided it wasn't for me. So I'm back. And I just opened a new office on Main Street in Cortez. We've been doing work here for a couple years already. We're doing Cortez City streets, different projects like that. And just wanted to I have a couple written information for you, I guess, to include in the next board packet. But we're having an open house September 12th, so the day after your meeting. It's 4 to 7. We'll just have a little food. You can come in, meet the guys that own the company I work for, talk a little bit, just hopefully have a good time and get to know us a little bit more. As far as what I do and hoping to accomplish, I guess, in being back home in this area, I'm a water resources engineer. So I'm also a certified floodplain manager. I do a lot of work with water. I also do transportation, structures, land development, pretty broad spectrum of things. I have some surveyors that work for me. We also have a materials testing lab, things like that. It's all fine and dandy, but really when you boil it down, these small communities like you guys, you don't deal with state regulations, you don't deal with federal regulations on a daily basis. And I do, so that's where I can provide a lot of value to small communities like this. It's something that I'm familiar with and can navigate a lot better. The planning process, different standards that change constantly. That's something that having a small engineering firm like I work for in these communities really provides a lot of benefit to the area. Whether it's a ride around with Mr. Jennings over here, just to look at stuff that's going on, issues you have. I do keep a pretty good thumb on state funding, federal funding, try to make those matches happen just to make budget stretch. I know how it goes. And I appreciate the small towns and the limited resources that you guys have, and just hope that I can be a tool and a resource to expand on for you. So is it okay if I hand you guys each an invite to the open house?
Yes.
Okay, and then I have a pamphlet just on our services. I think I'll just give Heather one and Mr. Jennings one, and leave a couple there if you guys want them.
So,
It's totally fine. And I do want to say Mr. Copenhagen has reached out to me a couple of times, like I have an email in my inbox, which will probably go to you on Friday. But, so he has reached out to me and I have not gotten back to him because I was working on some other time sensitive stuff. So, yeah, I do have contact.
okay.
Yes, and it's my fault. I did not.
It's all right.
Thank you.
And make sure that Jamie gets one too, because she. All right. And is that all you have?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right, so I will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is announcements. Heather? Okay. Anybody here? Announcements? Okay. All right, well, quiet week. Committee reports, Montezuma County Commissioner update. Don't see him here. Region 9 update.
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay. CDOT TPR update.
Nothing since our last meeting, since our last board meeting, we haven't had a CDOT.
Okay. Montezuma County Planning Commission update.
We will be reviewing one application for a We'll be reviewing one application for minor subdivision that's within our sphere of influence. Others submitted comments on behalf of the board.
Okay.
Standard water comments and road connectivity and annexation language for our 1 and 3 mile plan. We have the 1 mile IGA with the county and then our 3 mile annexations. So I have standard comments that I submit with those. For the newer members, the biggest one is our water dock is not a guaranteed source of water for subdivisions.
All right, cool, thank you. Mancos Creative District update.
So we had a meeting Monday that I went to. I've got the notes. They're continuing to work with their consultant heirs towards the development of a draft contract for the Mancos Opera House. That's so that they can kind of get started on the fundraising towards it. We're working towards a charter to guide the usage of the Opera House and to engage the community, find ways for people of all ages to utilize the Opera House. Funding several projects in 2024 through the 81328 Create program. Recent projects include the mural at Mesa Verde Hotel, the Rhythm and Roots Art Festival on September 21st, and a band for the Grange Community Dinner on September 8th. It's the Dirty Chords and Bluegrass Band. And then they're working with Bradley from the Afro Beatniks to support a concert at the Opera House on the 19th for fundraising. The funds will be raised for both the Creative District and a nonprofit that supports people in West Africa.
All right, thank you. They were very active. Mancos Valley Chamber update.
Yeah, I shared an agenda from the last meeting with Heather, and I can send it to y'all as well with dates. There's some highlighted yellow dates that we are encouraged as board to attend. Specifically, the Empower Breakfast and Business After Hours is an opportunity for us as a board to meet local business community members. So if we can do it, feel free to do it. I'll send the information. This next part is super exciting. If you like pie, we need a judge on September 28th at 4 p.m. So if somebody from the board really likes pie and wants to judge it, there's an opportunity. Go to mancosvalley.com to find out more.
Can you be on the board and not like that?
No, you have to love pie if we need it. That's all I got.
Why didn't we ask that question? Of all the questions we forgot. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Probably the best thing to do so we don't violate open meetings is Heather can make sure Heather has it and then she can distribute it to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way we keep everything.
Andres, I'll forward it to you.
Perfect.
Thank you, Heather. Mancus School District update.
Yeah, so they got their first district accountability committee meeting on September 10th at 5:15. And I know the school board is meeting with them towards the second half of that meeting. Emily's also working on fundraiser, getting everybody together for the Mancus United fundraising starting September 28th with Grand Autumn Eve, I believe is what it is now, not Grand Summer Nights, the second day of Grand Autumn Eve. So we're trying to collaborate there and looking to raise money for another summer hub. So if you don't know, Mancus United is doing a summer hub for local kids and just getting them out of the house. And I know my wife and I love that. So, and then they launched a new LMS to get some training done a little easier for the staff, trying to lower some insurance premiums. And according to Todd, the budget is in good shape.
All right, thank you. Sounds like they had a robust meeting as well. All right, so moving on to our discussion and action items. Our first item is the 2024 public art proposals. Mancus Creative District.
Hello. 2 seconds. Sure.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi everyone, I am Chelsea Lenders, 44190 County Road M, Mancus, Colorado. And I'm the director of the Mancus Creative District. We have some slides to look at tonight, and we did send them out. Heather provided them, so you may have had a chance to read them over. What I'm going to do is hold the microphone a little closer to make it easier.
It's in their board packet.
Yeah.
Okay, it's part of the board packet. Great. I'm going to give you a little introduction to public art and what we're really talking about tonight. Several of you are new, so I kind of want to run through what the program really is all about. It's a partnership that the town and the Creative District have been in for the last 3 years. And then I am going to give you a little tour of the current landscape of public art in Mancus. And then we will talk about 3 different proposals that we have at this time for public art. And I will present to you some recommendations from the Mancus Creative District's Public Art Advisory Committee.
Okay.
And I hope you're coming back. And then you all get to make some choices about public art this evening.
Okay. While we wait, I'll add in just a little thing here since Lily's here.
Yeah, and I actually
Several years ago, Lily came to the board and in the audience business suggested doing the tile art on the bathroom, and from that we created our public art program for the town. So thank you, and look at what happened.
Yeah, and I'll show you guys some photos, including a photo of Lily's wonderful mosaic in the park. Is there any way to zoom in on it a little bit, or is that kind of as good as it gets? Jason? Okay, there we go. So I just wanted to start off with talking a little bit about the project background here, and thank you, Cindy, for that reminder of kind of where this all began, was with Lily coming to a board meeting and suggesting a project, right? Turned into a thing. Well, it did, so good work. And I'm sorry you didn't know that. So what happened in 2022 following that project is that the town board decided to begin investing in public art. And the investment is currently $3,000 as part of the annual town budget. The town and the Mancus Creative District decided to partner up on this because the Mancus Creative District also has a role and an interest in public art in the community. So the way we decided to do this is that the Creative District would work to coordinate with artists, look at spaces, and curate proposals, which we would then review and then present to the town board with recommendations. The Mancos Creative District also works to raise additional funds because we do recognize that a budget of $3,000 is hard to do much with, and we do want to see quality public art, so we do what we can to raise additional funds each year to contribute to the project as well. We present our recommendations, and then the final decision goes to you all. A couple parameters for this project are that the art is on public property, and we do, at this time, require that the artists live in the Mancos Valley, not necessarily in the town of Mancos, but within the 81328 zip code. So this year, we are able to contribute $1,000, so we have a total budget of $4,000 to spend, if we wish. There is also the option to roll that budget into next year and increase the budget for next year if none of these projects are chosen. So the next slide, and hopefully you just got a chance to glance over this ahead of time, but this is about the benefits of public art. And really the benefits are, this is very high level. The benefits are deep economically, socially, psychologically. One that I'll point out is community identity. And I love how each of the candidates tonight actually referenced this. They talked about people wanting to take pictures in front of murals and the importance of art in our community, and then Lily being here as a participant in that. It is a part of the identity of our community, the arts are. The way the Creative District looks at it is our community is the intersection of art, agriculture, and adventure. So we try to represent that in our public art as well. And so you can scroll. So these are I'm going to show you the projects that we've done in the past. So this was our 2022 project, the Mancos Cattle Brand sculpture, which is in Boyle Park. This is the first project through this partnership that the town board selected. It went up in 2023 because there were some supply chain issues. But it's up in the park now. The names of the artists who were involved are listed there. The people who planned this project did have to raise a good amount of additional funds to do the project. The next project was our 2023 project with artist Alex Bond. And this is a sculpture that you will see over in Cottonwood Park. And the Creative District luckily was able to contribute quite a bit more that year to pay Alex for his artwork. And then this is the tour of the public art landscape here in Mancos. So you see the mosaic that Lily Russo did on the Boyle Park bathroom here. There's a project over by the library that was with the Mancos High School Art Honor Society. We have our cattle drive on the liquor store. We have Rural Goodnights, Valley Mascots. The one on the right-hand side is a digital mural. So this is something that the Creative District puts together and we replace every few years because it does fade. So we'll probably be replacing it next year with something else. We have the fabulous local artist Brad Goodell and 2 pieces of his at Fenceline and at the Mancos Common Press. We have Annie Bussell, a local artist who painted a mural in the Mancos Valley Chamber of Commerce and also several other things around town, including our vending machine at Fenceline. And she will be putting up a new mural soon at Alpaca. So that's in the works. We have we have one piece currently by the artist, internationally known artist, Chip Thomas, the Bison, and then we're also supporting and planning another project at Alpaca with Chip that is a goose and goslings. So that will happen hopefully this fall. This is not a comprehensive tour of our public art, by the way. I'm hitting as many things as I can, but we have some art in our alleyway. I put this up because the owners of these buildings are interested in continuing to do new public art in these spaces. So that'll be something that the Creative District is looking to support in the future. We have public art at our school. This is one piece. We also have public art in the school garden. And then I wanted to just share this with you. It's a sneak peek. This design is under review right now by the parent company of LiveWell. I'm hopeful that they will approve it. They have some regulations that they have to follow because they are a marijuana dispensary. But this is a proposal by an Indigenous artist, and we have the funding to do it. We have the contracts to do it. We have everything we need to do to put this mural on the LiveWell wall, the east-facing wall. And it creates a nice flow into our downtown and our creative district. So we're very hopeful that this mural will go up in September, but just pending that final approval. So that's the tour, okay? So now we're gonna look at the proposals that we have for our joint project this year. The 3 sites that I really focused on and tried to encourage artists to look at this year are the podium in Boyle Park, and I'll tell you a little bit more. It is actually owned by the Lions Club, not the town of Minkus, even though it is in Boyle Park. And when we get to that proposal, I'll tell you a little bit more about the conversation I've had with the Lions Club. We're also looking at the back side of the town hall right here. It's a site that overlooks Boyle Park. So it really kind of requires something striking from a distance and up high because cars are parked down below. And then we also looked at areas for sculptures again. I did focus a little bit more on looking for murals this time around because we've done sculptures 2 years in a row. But we did look at like the area around the footbridge by the library and in Pioneer Plaza as potential sculpture sites. So the first artist, this is their bio, actually provided 2 different proposals. When I talked about these spaces, they were inspired by 2 of them. This is an artist that has really been actively engaged and submitted proposals in the past, but kind of has come in second in the past because it wasn't quite there, quite matching the space. So I did work a bit with artists this year to talk more about space and their style and look for a good fit. So we can go ahead and look at Day's first proposal. And let me bring this up on my screen because I actually want to read the artist's statement to you. So this is at the podium at the park. The artist says, "My intention with this specific proposal is to create a mural to engage children and everyone else with images of nature. I will include the most common birds, flowers, trees, mushrooms, animal tracks, etc. from this area. The mural will include the written names of these beings as well as some written facts. My hope is for it to be both educational and engaging as well as creative and beautiful centerpiece for our downtown park." So if you go to the next, I try to zoom in. This is a mock-up. And actually, if you go to the next slide, Jason, these are samples of the artist's work that kind of relate to what they mocked up. This artist creates children's books, so including the names of the beings and descriptions of the beings are kind of part of the artist's style and would be integrated. If you want to scroll up again to the podium. So the thing I wanted to say about the Lions Club is that I've been reaching out and really trying to engage them and see if this is something that they would approve. And they just got back to me today. And I didn't actually get to have a conversation. I did get an email though. And they requested that there be an integration of something along the lines of the projects that they offer in the community, like offering glasses to the needy, something about dogs, which I'm not sure what it is, but it involves dogs, and working with the senior center. So if this is your choice, we would have a little more groundwork to do with the artist to see if incorporating those themes is in alignment with their abilities and their vision. So if you did choose this proposal, it might be contingent on the artist being able to execute that and the Lions Club saying yes to it. So unfortunately, I haven't brought that over the finish line, and I can't give you all of that information today. But if you chose this, you could do it contingent on those things coming into place. The second proposal provided by this artist is an elk on the backside of the town hall here. So they say, my intention with this specific proposal is to create a mural that inspires awe and reverence for the elk, a majestic being that we are so lucky to have in abundance in the land around us. The mural will be bold and eye-catching. It will bring further beauty to Boyle Park, as it will easily draw the viewer's eye from far away. So many of us who love and live in Mancos do so because of the way Mancos has such a beautiful community in such a wild and rugged land. Adding this elk mural to the central space in Mancos will further claim who we are as a community to those passing through. We are wild and we are rugged. We cultivate and honor beauty, and we are an intact community. So that's what the symbolism of the elk means to this artist. Some samples of their work related to this. So this is actually the painting of the elk by the artist, and another example of a more realistic style of work by this artist. Okay, and then our third proposal is something that I pulled together. This is actually a sculpture that the Mancos Creative District currently owns, and it resides in the community center. However, there's interest in moving it. So I'll just say something about the sculpture first. So it is painted by Amarina Lee Martinez. And Amarina's puma is escaping its habitat destruction. Her design represents the plight of the modern day wildlife by creating colorful images of the pristine landscape of the Ute Tribal Park, as well as the puma's habitat on one side, and symbols of pollution and traffic congestion and graze on the other. So I'll show you, you can see the puma from all angles in the next space there. So this is part of a project called Pumas on Parade that was a public art for public land project sponsored by the San Juan Mountain Association. The pumas were cast from a mold of a bronze sculpture called On the Alert by an artist named Rosetta from Loveland, Colorado. So the intention with this proposal is that we would have the artist who originally painted the puma paint a sealant on it that would make it able to be outdoors, and then we would build a new podium for it. And originally what I proposed is that we place it near the footbridge by the library. I did get a couple of different proposals for building the podium. It could be blocks like what you see here in the picture, or it could be more of like a rock style, look like a rock but be built out of concrete kind of thing. And those proposals range from $2,000 to $3,000 to build that style of podium. So I'll say a little bit more about that when I give you the advisory committee's recommendations, because they had some different thoughts about the location and the podium. So maybe instead of going into recommendations here, what you can do is just go back to proposal 1, and I will talk through the committee's recommendations briefly. So for proposal 1, I called it flora and fauna. So this is actually the top recommendation for the committee. They found this piece to be playful, beautiful, it has a delightful spirit. They appreciate the way it can draw in children and serve as an educational piece. It celebrates nature, which is one of the big values of our community and the reasons people live here. The addition of words that the artist proposes will make the piece more cohesive than it appears here in the mock-up. It's sort of a hidden gem style piece. Like, you don't see it, it's not a big wow. But when you do see it and you get close to it, it's delightful. So yeah, and we appreciate that the artist has been highly engaged with the work we do as a creative district and always interested in what's going on around town with art. We do recommend that the artist commit to providing touch-up for within a few years. as part of their budget. And of course, it's all pending the Lions Club approval and the artist's decision as to whether or not to incorporate their wishes.
And you don't know exactly what those are yet?
I didn't.
It's kind of a general idea. But
I think it involves eyeglasses and dogs and objects that kind of represent their projects that they offer to the community. So there needs to be discussion about that. Yeah. If you want to go to the elk really quick. So for this, really the committee liked all of these proposals. There wasn't one that we would say no to, which usually there is. But all three of these were well liked, and it was hard to choose. However, the elk composition, so it's a very smart use of the wall. The imagery is strong, and the spirit of the project is strong. However, large animal muscling can be very hard to paint at scale. And so there was a little concern about that. We also felt that the first proposal was a stronger sampling of this artist's particular work. If this project were selected, Brad Goodell, the muralist who is a part of our advisory committee, had a recommendation that he could work with the artist on that involved considering like kind of a faded background around the elk. And the artist is open to that. So it could evolve a little bit if it's selected. And then the third proposal, so when I brought this to the advisory committee, they said, can we do one of the other projects and this? And can the creative district actually foot the bill for this and donate it to the town? And I think that's possible. The committee had some recommendations for some lower cost ways of building a nice looking podium, other than the concrete that I had explored. They also were uncertain about the location that I was proposing and it being kind of a prime spot for people to want to climb on the sculpture, and the delicacy of the tail. The tail is attached to the puma's leg, so it's not totally just hanging out there, but if there were damage to the sculpture, then what? Then we have a damaged sculpture there. So a couple of thoughts. Would the puma suit the new marshal's office? How would it feel to be placed somewhere around the front of the new marshal's office? Also, would the puma suit this meeting room? Was another question that was posed. So the recommendation from the committee is to continue exploring good locations, work with the town to land on the best thing, and then the creative district would be happy to donate the sculpture to the town and support the cost of doing the sealant and the base. So, any questions?
I like that pedestal one a lot, but it seems like it wouldn't look like that given the other requests. Is there another spot in town that you've identified like down the road? Like, I love that concept of kids finding cool art. Mm-hmm. Is that something you're exploring with like other sites around town?
As far as the sites that we've identified that are, owned by the town of Mancos, I think that it could also go well around the library somewhere. Like that could be a nice fit. And that would be a conversation with the library and it wouldn't be town property. I don't know. Heather, did you have any thoughts about other sites?
I don't.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't have
another option, and we did do a sculpture in Cottonwood Park for the last project, but there could be something installed around Cottonwood Park where images could be painted, and there currently are wooden structures where art is like posted inside, and those tend to like fall apart pretty easily and need a lot of maintenance and that kind of thing. So really painting a mural with like a really good sealant on like a stable wall is probably preferable. Wow, yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
It just seems like something like I could see that happening in several spots in town. If this is the first of those, I kind of like that idea as well.
I'm wondering if we could continue this to our next meeting so that you have time to get with them and, because they do, aid to the blind and the sight impaired. And, it might be as simple as incorporating a person with a seeing eye dog, maybe that works fine. So I personally would like to have full information before we make a decision.
Brent's comments, which may lead to, some of them have been answered, but some of them may help if you guys are going to table this. So our presentation. I have a few questions and concerns. First, regarding the picnic shelter in Boyle Park, do we own it or does the Lions Club? Additionally, when we begin phase 1 of construction of Boyle Park, will that impact this in your life? My concern is that if we don't own the structure, we would be committing public funds to a project on property we don't own, which I thought was a prerequisite for the proposal. For proposal 2, I would prefer to see that project scrapped, as I don't think the back of Town Hall is a suitable location for a mural at this time, and the subject matter doesn't seem particularly engaging. Regarding proposal 3, do we own the sculpture? He recalls me mentioning that we own the one in Town Hall, but the one in the community center is owned by the Creative District. I also don't think the proposed location for the sculpture is ideal and would prefer to see it placed elsewhere. So that's direct comments from Brent. So you guys figure out. I said that I would give him comments on every I would read his comments verbatim to you all. So
I liked those. So you guys figure it
yeah.
out.
You guys, again, can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
This is something where you have full discretion. So however you want to handle it.
All right, Daniel, any comments?
I like the recommendation of proposal 1 and 3. The one in the park, I think, would be seen the most. I also think it'd be great for the kids too. I know mine would be over there looking at trying to figure out all the stuff they can find. So, maybe a little bit of selfish there, but I think a lot of people use Boyle Park, and that's it's a big active part of our town. So I think that would be really good. Just wondering what the Lions Club wants, what it would take to make them happy with what goes up there, and if that impacts the piece at all, kind of detracts from it because they want too much, so I think we got to find out, like you said, we got to find out exactly what they want, and what might make it work for them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if we're considering proposal 1, we need more information because we're not actually picking what it is. So if that wants to be considered, then yeah, we could go to the next meeting. I kind of love the giant weird elk. Weird, that's my judgment. I kind of like that. It's, it'd be the talk of the area. Just makes that a giant elk. Make us weird. So yeah, I feel like I think just for the bigger picture, the first one is a better option, but we don't have all the information, so I think it does. We need to have all the data before we vote on it.
I think it's been said. I like 1. I like 3. I would love more information on what 1 would look like.
Okay, David.
1, 3, more information, but expanding on that, like the unpainted pavilion doesn't look great. It would be amazing to have something there.
Yeah.
And traditionally it would get repainted as a solid color with something super durable. It'll last forever and it'll chip and it'll be back. This is exciting and engaging. It brings more color to the park. But I agree, we need more information, like it's what it's actually going to look like.
Yeah. Heather, do you have any information on, it's our park, it's their structure, do we have some kind of an agreement?
Yeah, how does that
Or
work?
did it happen so long ago?
It happened,
No
okay,
paperwork.
so more than 17 years ago.
Yeah.
I think that my understanding, and I can potentially go back and say, I don't know that we have anything in writing, but I can go into the safe maybe.
Okay.
But the Lions Club paid to build the pavilion in Royal Park, so they own it.
Mm-hmm.
We have shared the maintenance duties. When our insurance company requires something, they have been more than happy to accommodate, like when we have to put things change in the end for that reason. As far as the painting of the pavilion, it gets, I'm not sure what's happening. I am not an artist. I know that we, every couple of years, either we're out there or they're out there painting it. When we do it, government paint, solid color. Moving on. There have been, the Alps Club has in the past had different artists put different types of artwork around the bottom, but it gets some hard use. So
Yeah.
that's what I know about that.
The ownership piece makes no sense to me. I mean, if I go build a shed and pay for it on Jason's lot, he owns it, it's his land. So I don't get that. I think we should figure out what reality is there.
I think it's
Just because they pay
it's
for it
one
doesn't
of
mean they own it.
those deals that predates, I think that again, it goes back to a 99-year lease of land and the fire department owns the building and 50-acre deed to the county with the airport project right in the middle. It's just, unfortunately, I think it's one of those things that we inherit and have to figure out how to fix.
Because I know it's been there since before '92.
I was just gonna say, well, and it's been that way, again, for Georgette, our previous deputy clerk, it was that way when she started here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's one of those things, again, that predates.
I can
Sorry,
speak a
guys.
little bit to the longevity. So Brad Goodell, the muralist, is my key advisor for murals on the committee. And he took a look at the space and felt it was a good space for painting as long as it was the painting, the images started 8 inches off the ground. And when you look at it, it is all chipped about 8 inches up. And then it's not so bad above that. It has to do with the way the water, the sprinklers and that kind of thing. And there are, really good high level sealants that can be painted over it that will keep it intact. However, we would want to include an arrangement with the artist that they touch up and check in on it within a couple years.
And depending on what your decision is tonight, we will do some research back into the old because there's nothing electronic on this thing. We're going to have to go back into the papers, potentially in our historical records back here. So, if you guys want, we'll try our best to find whatever written agreement we can find, if there is one.
Doesn't seem like a good use of your time, to be honest. So kick it to the next meeting.
I feel like we're almost there. We're not quite there, so we don't have enough detail. Like for real, from the apparent owners of the structure. Yeah. So if somebody wants to,
If you're going to keep it to the next meeting, I would ask that we give Chelsea some super clear instruction as to what you're looking for from her, so she can provide it for the board packet.
Yeah.
And then if you want staff to do anything before the next meeting, let us know that, so that you guys are able to get the information ahead of time. Ask any questions and we can come prepared.
Yeah, my request would be to come back with an image that the Lions Club approves of, if it's going to go in that location. And then Dave, is that you said Dave?
Day, yeah.
That Dave
Or
approves,
Dia.
that there's clarity that the parties have agreed upon for that proposal. And if there isn't clarity, then a new location that matches this design, just bring us a finished proposal for option 1. That would be my request.
Do you want to incorporate that into a motion?
Anything else? I make a motion, oh my gosh. I make a motion, we table this to the September 11th agenda, so next week. And allow the creative district to come forward with more information and a more clear consensus on proposal number 1.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Will the clerk call the vote?
Hold on, I'll let it know the motion.
Thank you guys very much. I'll see you in
Yeah,
a couple
thank you,
weeks.
Thanks,
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
And I'm sorry, was that David that seconded?
Yeah, second.
Okay. Trustee David Payton.
Aye.
Trustee Andreas Esparza.
Aye.
Trustee Nick Manning.
Aye.
Trustee Daniel Minnie.
Aye.
All right, motion passes to continue it to the next meeting. All right, second discussion and action item, the public hearing, Moondog Cafe liquor license. So I will open the public hearing at 8:50-ish. Clock isn't.
I'm gonna recuse myself.
Oh, okay.
Because I have a contract. So.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Wait, did you plant that?
No.
He's going home to go to bed.
I know, right? He's gonna take a nap out in the other room. Okay, so did y'all have anything you wanted to come up and tell us, or? Tried to bang the gavel just enough to wake you up, but not scare you.
Not good public speaking, but we'll try.
And state your names and address for the record.
Danielle Pucci, 40465, Virginia.
Dominique Fulton, 4465.
Okay. Anything you want to tell us about the project?
Well, as a cafe, we were not planning on being a bar. We, at our other location, just have, we serve mostly sangrias, mimosas. We'll have a really small cocktail, maybe 5 or 6 focused items. So that's really, the spirit is to keep it as a cafe. We have no intention to not go late nights where, we're a cafe, so just wanted to make that clear.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else wish to speak? No one had signed up, but if you stayed here this long, you had it before. All right. Staff, thank you very much.
They are within our code for everything. Marshal's office does not have any issues with it. And we have talked to them about making sure they do know, they can't serve out on the public drive. Like, they are very clear on that.
And we'll have clear signs that, I'll be on this point on the outside. And then also too, we have signatures that were for, okay.
Jamie needs those. All right. All right, so seeing nobody else wants to speak, I will close the public hearing at 8:55. I would use my phone, but it's dead. All right, I would entertain a motion in a second.
I'll make a motion to approve the new hotel and restaurant liquor license application for Stray Dogs LLC, DBA Moondog Cafe, in the licensed premise, conditional upon state approval, and authorize the town clerk treasurer to send the application to the state.
Second my motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Will the clerk please call the vote?
Trustee David Payton.
Aye.
Trustee Andreas Esparza.
Aye.
Trustee Daniel Minnie.
Aye.
All right. Passes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep. Let's see. All right. Next item is the Frost Collective Marijuana License Renewal.
I have a financial relationship with these guys too.
Okay. Sorry, Nick. Oh my gosh. All right.
This is their yearly renewal. The state actually already has everything, and it's actually, they submitted everything to the state this year before doing anything to us. So the state is waiting on us this year for this. But they're within a code, they didn't make any changes with anything. And there's no issue with the marshal's office.
Okay. Any discussion? And if there isn't any, I would entertain a motion in a second.
Make a motion to approve the renewal of the retail and cultivation marijuana business permit for the Frost Collective LLC, conditional upon receiving the renewal license from the state of Colorado, and authorize the town clerk and treasurer to send approval to the state.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Will the clerk please call the vote? What, Heather?
Comment.
Oh, Brennan, I'm sorry.
No issues with Frost Collective, except to ask if they're still in operation or just keeping the license active, as I haven't noticed much activity there since the building went online.
No idea.
I don't know, I didn't ask them.
Okay. All right. Okay. Call the vote.
Trustee David Baby.
Aye.
Trustee Andreas Esparza.
Aye.
Trustee Dan Mohammed.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Next item is Main Street Program Consultant RFP.
Yeah, this is just an FYI for you guys. I took the liberty of including the original grant application because some members of this board were not seeing the time we submitted it.
Yeah.
So,
Hang on just a second. We need to get Nick. Unless he's got
Financial involvement with this.
financial involvement.
I thought you got a break.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to recuse myself. Thank you, Corey. All right,
okay.
sorry.
No, sorry about that. So, yeah, this is just an update for you guys on the projects. I included the original grant application. We submitted it. Some of you guys haven't seen it yet, so I thought it'd be worth you guys to read through what we originally proposed in our grant. We did receive the grant, obviously, and we feel like we're going to get a contract with Zola anytime now. And so once that happens, this is the RFP that we intend to set out. I guess the only other thing I want to make note of here is that I've been in pretty close contact with the folks at Main Street Program for Safehold, the director and the program manager, and they actually helped me edit this RFP, and they're going to participate in the contractor interviews if we want to, and from there on, whoever we end up choosing, they're going to work really closely with them and make sure that we have all the resources we need in our contractors, all the resources we need to get the project out. So, that is the end of my report. I'll answer any questions you have.
I had some questions about some of the dates and things. So will those be?
Yeah.
Okay, so mostly it's, okay.
Those were just placeholders. You
Okay.
can tell I was really thinking positively on it the first dates.
Yeah, you were
Yeah. I was like, oh, these need to be updated.
So, yeah, those will all get updated appropriately.
Okay. Is that why they're highlighted? Okay. Yeah, cool, thank you. Anybody else? Questions? What'd Brent say?
No issues with the regular.
Sure. One time I remember. Anyone else? All right. So we need a motion?
No, this is just for your information.
Okay, FYI only. All right. Okay, moving along, thank you. Moving along, we have the fiscal update discussion.
And this is basically an FYI again. This is a ton of information. So I wanted to give it to you just so you have it, you've seen it. We have discussed previously diving into it if the board felt the need at a retreat or workshop. So giving it to you now and saying, do you want to dive into it? Do you have any specific questions you want me to bring back in the short term? Or do you want this on a retreat or workshop, or are you happy with what you have? This is not for in-depth discussion tonight.
Yeah. I really liked the information. I think it shows a really good move towards much more, fiscal stability than we had 10 years back. So kudos to you and your team. I know it's always exciting when, we give Terry specifically, an instance stands out. We give him not to exceed and he gets it in under, so far under that he's able to get something else too. And so I really appreciate the fiscal responsibility and accountability that you all do. So, anybody else have a comment?
Yeah, just second what you're saying. Obviously, these show that y'all are doing good work.
Okay.
Brent said, no concerns with the fiscal health report. I would like to discuss it at a future workshop or possibly include it as a topic at the fall retreat. So that's consensus of you all. If you all are happy to don't need to see it again, please upload it. If the majority, that's how that works. If the majority of you would like to see it or discuss it in more detail, I can put it somewhere.
I wouldn't say no, we're never going to discuss it, but it would be interesting to see what about it does he want to talk about.
I will.
So, yeah, a little more info from him. All right, thank you very much and congratulations. Second quarter work plan and financial update.
Again, this is just an FYI. Second quarter through June, through the end of June. So work plan updates and financial updates. I don't know if anybody has any questions or specific items they'd like to look at. You guys just see these 4 times a year.
Any questions?
I just really appreciate how thorough these things are written out. Having done this in the nonprofit world a lot, the clarity and the information is really nice.
Yeah. With the fiscal report, fiscal health report, and this, have we taken the recommendations from that report and worked them into?
We actually have in certain instances. Some we have not, but some we have. So if that's something you would like me to flesh out for you, I can potentially put this on the fall retreat and say, this was our original one, first time we ever saw it. This is what we implemented since then. Based on the new recommendations, this is what we're considering implementing. I can absolutely do that. It's kind of a quick update to you at either a workshop or a retreat. I can do that and potentially put it on the fall retreat. Or at least update to you.
Yeah.
So what have we implemented and what are we going to? I can do
Yeah. Because I could tell looking at the first one, I just, in my mind, I could think like, well, where else would you think? Oh, we did this to fix that. And, so I could work my way through it. And so I just want to make sure that we, pay respect to the ideas that they had on how we could further improve.
I'm happy to bring that to you all at the retreat because that is information that only staff would have. Again, this we work with it. So it's not something that necessarily rise to your level. But I do think that you should at least know the first and second time around, we got it, we didn't waste your money, this is what came out of it, this is what came out of it. So I'm happy to put that on the retreat.
Cool.
Just as kind of a quick, maybe 15 or 20 minute.
Alright. Nice, thank you. And that brings us to the fall trustee retreat.
Brent's comment was, I would like to have a retreat sometime in November if possible. I'm fairly open on dates that month. I don't feel the need for a facilitator, but if the rest of the board prefers one, I'm fine.
Yeah, what he said.
I think I would have availability the first weekend and potentially the second weekend, but the first weekend in November would be better for me, I think.
You mean the first, second, and the third, and the first full weekend?
Second and third,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm good with that.
That's fine with me.
My phone died, so I can't double check, but
Yeah, the second is gonna be,
That works for me too.
And you want it on Saturday?
yeah, preferably the second. Sure.
9 a.m. standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a couple of things, I can't think of them off the top of my head other than this financial fiscal update. So I'm gonna have to go back and look and go back in my notes, but we'll be coming up with an agenda for that retreat. So if there's something that you would like me to add to the agenda, the retreat is actually yours. Generally, you as a board decide through consensus what to put on the next agenda. But I think the retreat has historically been a little bit more free-flowing. So if you want to send me your individual requests, I put an agenda together, and then I do send it to the mayor and the mayor pro tem and say either, you know what, we have more than enough time for this, or, yeah, we're gonna go into Sunday, so how do you guys want to?
Yeah.
So.
And then I agree with the facilitator part as well, like not knowing what's going to be discussed, it's hard to say whether we need that or not.
Okay, I don't see a need for.
Yeah, unless it's like something highly contentious we're trying to work through, but
Yeah, I think Heather serves as facilitator.
Because I don't think there's a designated outcome, there's no goal we're trying to get to.
Right.
So why a facilitator would not necessarily be useful.
well, in the past, the facilitator was used to make everybody calm down and also, just kind of keep the order, keep us on pace, and it allows all of us to fully participate because no one of us is taking time to like write down the notes and keep track of what we decide and, or we'll decide in an open meeting. And so that's a reason for it. We've had several recently where we didn't have a facilitator and it went fine. So.
Keep you guys on track.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember having one.
Sometimes it's awkward, but I will step in and be like, hey, sorry to shut this down, but we're a little off
Well,
topic.
especially on a Saturday.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so send me some items ahead of time if you guys think of something, and I'll put them on the agenda.
Do we have protocols on the agenda already? Is the ethic,
Well, we don't have trustee protocols on the retreat agenda, not yet.
because there's some stuff I'd like to talk about with regards to the protocols.
Okay.
And the retreat is a public meeting or not public facing at all?
It's a public meeting, it's not a public hearing. So people could come and sit and watch us talk and listen, but we don't take public comment because it's our retreat.
Okay.
I would like to see us discuss that. I know we already mentioned this, but just to reiterate that financial checkup. I'd like to see us go through that a little bit. Understand the impact.
The board had discussed having additional training at that retreat, especially with a new board member, but there wasn't a specific type of training because we trained you so early in your tenure after the election. So if it would be helpful, I can put like CIRSA's new trustee orientation in there because the new trustee should see it and hear it. And for those of you that were just elected, you now have a couple of months of meetings and this is actually how it works, and so to provide that written presentation again, I don't think we need Sam to come down and talk for an hour, but I can put the information in there, because you may have questions, or you may, something that did not stick out at your first training may stick out now.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to at least put that in there, put that in the retreat packet and send that out a little bit ahead of time. That was something that we had talked about at the last sourcing training. You still want that on there? Maybe 15 or 20 minutes?
Probably, since we're going with new board members.
Yeah, I think it's only fair
No
that
matter
they
what.
hit the ground running. We don't want to do to them what we did to Nick.
No, I forbid their help.
Yeah, let's not do what we did today.
Yeah.
It turned out okay. Yeah.
Okay,
All right, cool.
so November 2nd, 9 a.m. Breakfast. And we try to be out there at 11 or 2.
Here?
Here.
Yeah.
So what I would ask is that really think about this. Think about what you might want to talk about. Get everything into Heather like by the 1st of October. Because if there's a huge laundry list, Brent and I and Heather will have to kind of sift through and prioritize and that sort of thing. And if there's anything that's going to require research by staff, then we want to make sure we give them enough time. So we'll give ourselves a little deadline of October 1.
Yeah, it's a good space to just talk in conversation, ask questions, about any number of subjects. So,
Yeah.
really, I agree with Cindy. Really take it seriously about it.
Yeah.
Would it be helpful if I sent you all an email with a deadline?
Yes.
Yes.
I
would even.
Oh yeah.
That works well for us.
I would even back it up sooner than, what did you say, October 1st?
Yeah.
I'd give us like the end of the week. Like, yeah.
Well, I want to make sure that I want to make sure that like our new trustee, if they have any questions,
Yeah, that's true.
that
Yeah.
so-
Thanks for thinking of them. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So we'll wait. Give a deadline after I get appointed.
How quickly you forget we need it.
Right.
How quickly we forget.
Okay. Anything else on that? All right. Items for September 11, 2024, we had social media protocol discussion, August bills and claims, responses to RFP for IBC/construction standards update. We had the 2 things that we punted from tonight there. And this shouldn't be on an agenda yet, but I would really like to fit a conversation into one of our workshops about utilizing a consent agenda portion of our agenda. Because they're really handy and they save quite a bit of time sometimes. So,
And your protocols allow for them?
yeah.
So I will look at the protocols and how those are worded and potentially put that sometime in September.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
And I think what I'll do though is I'll put it on an agenda for a meeting agenda, not a workshop discussion.
Oh.
Because you're changing the agenda, so anybody who's interested, a public member who's interested, can either come to the meeting and speak, or they can review the YouTube video. Because in a workshop, no minutes, no video, no just discussion. So
Okay.
since you're changing the format of the agenda,
Okay.
I will find a white regular meeting agenda and put it on there.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Anybody have any other items for workshops, board meetings?
Yeah, I just want to add a quick discussion item to the next meeting. It's been a long night, so I'll just read this real quick. I think law enforcement officers should only engage in actions that fall within their legal responsibilities, and they should refrain from enforcing event-specific rules unless required by law. precedent says, commands given by law enforcement, they need to be found lawful and enforceable. If they're not, if they're trying to enforce rules, they're giving commands, a citizen's confused, this is carried away the law or not. I think we should have a discussion on filling a policy gap there, giving our marshals some clear guidelines with regards to their interactions with event staff at events, what they should and shouldn't do, essentially. So we had that issue at Magus Day, so that's what made me think of it.
Okay. What's our next scheduled topic? And do we have time to put that in?
Scheduled topic for the workshop.
For the workshop, yeah.
Budget.
Budget,
And your
okay.
social media protocols at the next workshop.
Okay. All right.
That's what's currently, that's what you currently just decided in the last workshop.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you guys can change it.
I'm sorry, I'm tired. Okay, so let's put that third, if we can get to it, we will, and otherwise we'll slide it to the next
It's up to
workshop.
the board, I just need
Yeah.
consensus of the board.
I agree.
You guys okay with that?
Sure.
All right, cool. Well, this is where I miss Richard the most. I just look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, we are adjourned at 9:20. And Tiffany, when did the Lions Club Pavilion go in?
I was gonna say,